Welcome, my name is Sarah Atkinson and I'm a trustee at Berkshire Youth. I'm delighted today to be joined by our Chief Executive, David Seward, and Kate Armitage, who's the Training and Volunteer Development Manager at Berkshire Youth. We are going to be talking about the launch of our new 2021 Youth Survey. So David, let's get started. First of all, tell us a bit about Berkshire Youth and how you help young people today.
Thanks, Sarah. Berkshire Youth is 82 years old. It's been a local charity, been based in across the Berkshire area since then, and we currently work with about 12,500 young people every year. And it's really important that we support that transition from childhood to adolescence, or that journey from primary to secondary school and then from secondary school into employment. And most young people make that transition really easily, really happily, and have a whole supportive network around them. What we're there for is to support those young people who don't necessarily have that support network around them. Those young people who don't understand how great they could be, or could understand the full potential they could reach. So our job is really there about supporting that positive contribution they can make, helping them to take responsibility where they can. And also helping them to prevent them becoming into crisis or in need of support longer term. So it is about working with those young people who are probably more vulnerable, have less support around them, and really about providing them with the opportunities that everyone else would take for granted. And that's what we do. And it's really about supporting them to reach their full potential, to increase their self-esteem, increase their confidence, and really acknowledge their responsibility they have and the place they have in their community.
Great, thank you. So Kate, before we get into the findings of the survey, tell us, why did you decide to do this research now? What prompted you?
So Berkshire Youth has always understood the importance of listening to young people, and the youth voice has always been really, really important to us. But over the last few months, the last 18 months really, we've been hearing about how young people in youth organisations have been really struggling through the pandemic. So it's really hit young people and the youth sector hard, and so many youth organisations have had to close their doors. Many have been able to open their kind of virtual doors, but some haven't been able to. And the young people have been telling us that they've been really struggling. They've been feeling really isolated. They've been feeling really lonely. So one of the reasons that we did this survey was we really wanted to reach out to those young people to find out what they are feeling, what they're thinking around at the moment, what their kind of biggest struggles are, and how as Berkshire Youth and the youth sector in general we can support those young people.
Great. So David, tell us, what were the key findings? What did you learn from this survey?
I think it's quite interesting that the survey was done really during the COVID-19 outbreak, and we recognise that that's had a significant impact on the lives of young people right the way across the sector. There have been a lot of national surveys done, focusing on national impact, but we thought it was really important to focus on that local. So we know from the outcome of this that 766 young people took part in the survey, and 76% of those recognised that mental health was something they were really quite concerned about, and that was number one in their priority coming out of lockdown. There were all 72% of those that took part in it said that school and education and the uncertainty around their exams or the future of that was something that really worried about them, and that just over half of them were really concerned about the coronavirus in general and the implications of that moving forward. I don't know, Kate wants to say a bit more, anything about that?
Yeah, and I think that really shows us how, young people have really struggled, especially with their kind of mental health and well-being through this pandemic. And I think that, over 56% of young people that responded to our survey said that they had a decline in their mental health due to COVID, which is massive. And I think we really wanted to explore that a little bit further and find out, what that looked like for young people. But also the other key kind of areas that came out from our survey was that young people didn't feel listened to within their communities and their councils. And that's prompted us to do some work around youth voice within the agendas of councils and community groups. And other things around why young people aren't attending activities. Are young people feeling really shy and not feeling like they've got someone to go with? And that really shows us that that transition between, you know, different school years or different schools in general, and then within the youth sector in terms of going up to a youth service, you know, that importance between transitional work is really, really important. The other kind of key findings for us is, you know, young people were really telling us that they wanted somewhere safe to go. They wanted somewhere to have fun with their friends, and they wanted specialist support around mental health. And I think the specialist support around mental health, you know, that is absolutely been echoed, as David said, around from our national youth surveys. But, you know, someone just as simple as somewhere safe to go and somewhere to have fun with friends. And I think that really reiterates for us the importance of universal youth work, that young people can just go into a youth centre and just feel safe and have fun, try new activities, make new friends, and just be with positive role models that they may not have elsewhere.
So, any surprises when you look back at those results, Kate?
I don't think so. I think the results, as David said, echoed a lot of the national results that have come out from national surveys, with, again, a big emphasis on kind of the investment in, or the realistic investment of kind of universal and targeted youth work. I think our young people who were in our steering group were quite surprised at the decline in mental health, and also the kind of rates around self-harm and other things like that. So I think the young people were quite surprised that we worked with the steering group, but I think from our point of view, I don't think there were any particularly massive surprises in there.
Okay, so let's move on, David, now, and look at, you know, what is actually going to be done to address some of those issues that were raised. I'm sure you've got many things in place. So let's hear from you on how we're going to address some of those issues.
I think firstly, we've been offering and making contact with all the local councils and local areas about how we raise that youth voice. Some are better than others, but nationally, I think the youth voice has been something that has been lacking from the agenda for a very long time. So we want to support that and help that. We're working closely with places around the Berkshire area, but specifically, you know, Bracknell and Newbury. They're two areas we focus very much so on sort of the working closely with the councils in that area to promote the youth voice. And that's a really good opportunity to encourage young people to feel part of that community. We're working closely with Aspire to Be to launch our new wellbeing programme for students across West Berkshire schools as well. And that's something that has come out of the Health and Wellbeing Act that was accepted in Wales in 2016. And it showed some really good effects in linking community and linking businesses into the whole health and wellbeing agenda. So to try and bring that and say it's important, just as important for young people that they feel well as industry and commerce, it is a real good opportunity to sort of showcase that partnership with industry. We're offering a lot of training around mental health and wellbeing training for our staff and volunteers. And in March, we trained 9 of our staff members and volunteers in mental health first aid. And our new centre will be open this summer. So we're looking at putting a full programme of activities together in Newbury around the Waterside Centre for those young people. And we also know that there's this big agenda around mental health, but there's also an agenda out feeding young people during the summer holidays. And those places are safety where parents and carers at work. There is a lot of young people in Berkshire who are in working poor families. And we know that just in secondary schools in one local area, in one area, there's just over 1,100 young people that access free school meals during holidays, during term time. So in holidays, that means that's 1,100 people that potentially would go without. So that's one of the things we're going to do outside the Waterside Centre as well in Newbury, and look to create that in Bracknell and Slough as well in the centres we have across the area.
Great, thank you. And so, Kate, actually engaging young people, I'm sure isn't that easy. So how did you overcome that, and how were they involved in developing this survey?
Yeah, so we reached out to young people within our youth organisations. So we kind of reached out to our member organisations about whether young people would like to be in this steering group. And we had a number of young people that that spoke to us and said that they wanted to join. We had 6 young people that carried on throughout this programme, and it was an absolute joy and a pleasure to work with these 6 young people. They were all over from Bracknell to Reading to West Berkshire, and actually they had such a key element in putting this all together, and I'm so proud of each and every one of them for doing that. They worked, we worked over a 6-week period, and we talked all about what is consultation, what are the advantages and disadvantages of consultation, how we consult with young people, why we consult with young people, and the different kind of methods of doing that. They decided to do a survey. They really wanted to do it face to face, and they wanted to go out with our detached workers to hand out these surveys and to do them on iPads. But obviously, due to the pandemic, we just weren't able to do that. So young people were key in writing the survey online and getting it out into our member organisations, into schools, and to their friends and families, and to in the communities. Schools were a fantastic resource for us. They were able to get it out to all their students, and we were so pleased with the responses from the schools and the interest from the schools as well. So yeah, a massive thanks to all the young people involved. They were brilliant, and they analysed all the findings. They helped us write the report at the end. So they really went from the beginning to the end of this process.
Fantastic, thank you. So just putting this all together now, David, in conclusion, kind of what are the key takeaways here? What do you want to leave us with?
I think for us there would be 4 key takeaways, and that would be, I guess the first one is an investment in universal youth work or preventative youth work. So it's about engaging with young people before they reach that crisis stage. It's cost effective. It's the most expensive thing to treat stuff once it's happened. So intervention is expensive. Prevention, on a sort of fiscal basis, makes much more sense. The youth sector is well placed to support young people to overcome the increased challenges, and COVID has thrown a whole range of different things in the faces of young people now. So, why not use organisations that are there? Increase the support around the volunteering and social action, increase the support around communities coming together to support young people, and try and find those new activities in terms of places where young people can meet new friends and spaces to talk to someone. Keeping young people safe in their leisure time is so important. If we're not investing in their safe spaces for young people, other people will take advantage of those young people that are vulnerable. So we need to look at safe spaces for that. It's about holistic and collaborative thinking. So our second point would be around holistic and collaborative thinking, specifically around mental health, but also in terms of the prevention of that. It's mental health is seen as something we need to put a tag on, but if we all took care of ourselves the way we should take of our body, in terms of fitness and well-being, and it would be a much easier solution for everyone. I guess in terms of COVID and COVID recovery, mental health has really suffered for young people who haven't got into regular patterns. So sort of like staying up late or not working in school, not going to school, not those things creates a disruption in somebody's life. So it's about getting back and working collaboratively to create those good habits again and get young people back into that. But also offering young people that support that they need, and offering that in an informal rather than a sort of a referral basis. So to offer young people the support they need prior to being referred into it through the system. Our third point, I guess, is understanding the importance of a youth voice. We've probably been 10 years now where young people have really not had the opportunity to voice their opinion. And it's a false economy. It's not investing in time for young people just creates that build up of frustration later on in life. So it's essential that young people are heard and have the opportunity to shape services and spaces around them. I think Berkshire Youth believe strongly in the power of the young people's voices, and want to create communities that listen and enable young people to play a vital role in developing spaces and services around them. It's very easy to play a popular game and just provide services for those people who vote. But if we don't invest in young people long term, then it's just seeing the future for what young people can bring with it. They're going to be looking after us in our old age, and to take care of them now, I think, is a nice thing. And there's also protect us in the future, that somebody's going to be nice to us when we're really old. So the investment in young people's voice now is a great asset for us as we age. So I really want somebody to mind me as I get older. And creating inclusive spaces for young people. You know, we live in a capitalist community. It's an economy. You know, it's all driven by capitalism. It's all driven by that. But if we see young people as something, as an asset, we have to give them space to grow, space to make mistakes, space to play, spaces that are safe, and that creates the right sort of environment for when they want to go out into retail, leisure, or hospitality, and to look at that, and to give those young people the opportunity to ask more questions, to feel that they have safe community around them that they can ask those questions and create those challenges that we all need to create a greater future for young people. So I think those are our 4 takeaways, really: an investment in youth work, holistic and collaborative thinking around mental health, understanding the importance of a youth voice, and creating inclusive spaces for young people. So those are our 4 spaces.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, David, and thank you, Kate. If you would like to learn more about Berkshire Youth, volunteer or make a donation, please visit our website or follow us on social media. Thanks for being with us today. Bye for now.